Hello once again. Welcome to Zephyr's BI and Analytics, where we learn by building BI projects. Today on this channel, I'm going to be walking you through how you can create this beginner-friendly, insightful report using Power BI. It's a sports product sales analysis report. I'm going to be walking you through how you can create this report on your own end. Interestingly, you're not going to be writing any measures for this report. All you need to do is navigate to the OneDrive link attached to the video description, download the PBIX file for this report, download the dataset, and also download the background image for this report. So, if it's your first time on this channel, why don't you click on the subscribe button? Also, turn on your notification to always stay updated when interesting reports like this are uploaded on the channel. So, what are we waiting for? Once you have everything ready, let's open up our Power BI and create this simple report. So once you open up the downloaded PBIX file, this is what you're going to have. You're going to have this blank report. Of course, you have the dimension tables in the calendar table, geography, products, retailer, sales channel, and finally the fact table, which is sports product. And of course, you have the DAX table up here. You expand the DAX table, you're going to find the different DAX measures that have been created already, from units, sales, profit, price, orders, and costs. But before we proceed to creating the report, we need to link your data set that you just downloaded also to this PBIX file. So to do that, we need to come to transform data, then of course, transform data. This will open up Power Query. And in Power Query, you actually see that there are a series of folders you have on your queries pane here. You have the raw data folder, which holds the raw data, which is the sports product. But now I'm actually having a prompt, which is a data set issue. That's the file, the data source issue actually. It's a data source issue. He can't actually find my raw data anymore because this is actually the first table, which is the raw data. So to fix this, you're also going to have this issue right now, but you downloaded the data set already, so we can actually fix this. So all we need to do is navigate on the applied steps for the very first table, which is the sports product, which is the raw data folder. We'll navigate to the source here. So once you open up the source, this is where you then need to browse and navigate to the part of your data set. If you have it in your downloads, if you have it in your desktop, wherever you have it, you just need to navigate there and click on OK. So I have mine in my desktop, so I'll just click on Browse. I'll come to my desktop and I'll click on the sports product sales analysis. Once I select that, I'll click on Open and I'll then go ahead to click on OK. Great. So now I can come down to the last step I have here, which is change type 1. So I click on change type 1 and it opened up my raw data. So this is actually the raw data, which is the first table, the raw data. From this very first table, that's where those dimensions tables were created. So if you expand the data model, these dimension tables were actually created from this very raw data here. So you only need to change the data source for this raw sports product, which is the raw data. So every other one will take care of itself. So you can see that on this sports data, which is the raw data, you have different columns. You can look at this. Then from this, you have dimensions tables that were created from dimension retailers to dimension geography. Then we have the dimension products, dimension sales channel. Then of course you have the calendar. And finally, you have the fact table, which is actually the sports product. So once we're done linking our data set, we just need to come to close, close and apply. So there are certain changes that will be made. Just allow those changes to be effected. Great. So once this is done, you can actually come to the model view and you find out that we have our model intact. We have our model intact. You have the fact table. Then you have the different dimensions table connected to the fact table. Let's come back to our report view. We can then go ahead and start creating the report. But first, we need to then open up the background image, bring the background image to Power BI before we begin creating the report. Remember also, you'll find the background image in the OneDrive. You can also download the PowerPoint file, right? So if you've downloaded the PowerPoint file or the image, I'll just open the PowerPoint file on my own end here. So this is the PowerPoint file. I'll probably just take a screenshot of this, but you can actually make some changes to this, right? Say you don't like this blue color, because I notice most of my reports I use blue color. Say you don't like this blue color, you can actually change the blue color to any color of your choice before taking a screenshot or taking a snapshot of the background and taking it to Power BI. So you can actually change the colors, right? So I'll just right click on format background. Then I can change this blue color to any color of your choice, right? This is where you get to make your choice. You can change it to any color of your choice, right? I can change this now to this very color I just selected, right? So if this is the color of your choice, for example, you can then use this color. So probably I'll use this. I don't know. This is the color I'm using right now. Okay. So like I said, you can change the background color to any color of your choice. So once I'm done, I think I'll just snipe this or right click, select all, whichever one, you can do that. I'll say new, I'll just take a snapshot of this. Okay, I'll just save this on my desktop, right, as image, my desktop as image. Next, I'll navigate now to Power BI, come to format page. First, I'll come to Canvas settings. I'll change this Canvas settings from 16.9 to custom, and it will be 1080, then 1920, right? Just to give me more space. I'll come to Canva background. I'll browse, come to my desktop, select the image, click on open, scroll down, reduce the transparency to 0, change the image fit from normal, I'll change it to fit. Great. So I have my background image in Power BI already. So let's begin creating the report. Okay. So let's quickly take a look at the report we're trying to create. Let's just navigate here. So we have the KPI cards in total sales. We have the cost, profit, total units, and average price. Then, of course, we have the month on month versus previous month, which is more like a month on month change in price, in sales, in profit, and all. So let's go ahead and create these KPI cards, starting with the sales, cost, and all. So I'll come back to my Power BI file, right? Okay, like I said, you're not going to be writing any measures. So the first measure you need is actually the sales, right? All you need to do is expand the DAX table, expand the sales. You see some series of measures here. You have the T sales, the month-on-month sales, the month-on-month sales percent color. We have the month-on-month sales background color. Then of course you have the month-on-month sales with the arrows, right? Great. So I'll bring in a KPI card. This is a KPI card, right? The regular one, not the new one. And I'll just select my total sales. So this is my total sales, right? We'll definitely need to format this, but let's just quickly look at the measures we have for the sales, because same measures we have for sales are the same measures we have for profit, cost, and the rest. So let's look at the sales. First, we have a measure that calculates just the total sales, which is just the sum, fact, product, total sales, which means if you navigate to your table and you navigate to your fact table, you are going to find a column called total sales, right? This is the total sales column. You're going to find a column called total sales. So it's just a sum of this total sales column. Then we have another measure, which is the month-on-month sales. Now, what this measure is trying to do is just trying to calculate the difference between the sales of this month and the sales of the previous month. So you have a variable that holds the previous month sales. It calculates the total sales. It goes back using your calendar table, 1 month. Then of course you have a measures that calculate the total sales already. This implication is when you select a particular month, it checks that very month sales against the previous month sales. What is the percent change? That's practically what is going on here. Then of course you have the month-on-month sales percent. Now since you have the month-on-month sales here already, right? This is the month-on-month sales. Is it a positive increase or a negative increase? This measure holds that already. So since you have this measure, we are now leveraging on this measure to create a month-on-month sales, right? Using an arrow indicator that goes up to tell us there's an increase in sales compared to the previous month, and another arrow that goes down to tell us there's a decrease in sales compared to the previous month. That's what this measure is practically leveraging on. So it's leveraging on the month-on-month sales we've created already. If it's a positive increase, if it's an increase which is positive, right, it will show us the percentage increase and also have a small arrow that indicates there's an increase. If it's not an increase, it definitely means there's a decrease. So it will show us, of course, an arrow pointing down to tell us there's a decrease and, of course, the percent decrease. We can actually say this if x is greater than or equal to 0, actually. So that's what this measure is practically doing, right? Then we have another measure that shows the month-on-month sales background color, right? The month-on-month sales background color. So what is this doing? This is also leveraging on the month-on-month sales. What it's practically doing is if the month-on-month sales is greater than or equal to 0, right? It's trying to say, okay, if it's greater than or equal to 0, I want you to use this color, else use this color. That's practically what this measure is doing also. Now for the last one is same principle as the other one, but this one is looking at the value itself, right? So we have a measure that leverages on the month-on-month sales to tell us to change and changes the color to the background color to a certain color. Then we have another one that changes the value color to a certain color, which is between green and red actually. So that's practically what these measures are doing. And we have this same 5 set of measures for sales, for profit, for price, cost, and all. So let's quickly format this. So this is supposed to be referring to total sales. I'll just come to format now. I'll turn off the category. I'll come to colored value. Let's make this 35, right? 35, right? This should be 35. Or should we make it 45? Let's leave it at 45 actually. So let's leave it at 45. Is DIN, that's fine. I'll scroll down, display unit, okay. I think it's okay. I'll just leave it there. I need to come to general, right? Effects, I'll put off the background, right? Then on the visual colored value, we'll probably need to change this color to white, right? Okay. Then back to general, put on the title, and this should be referred to as total sales, right? So I can then increase the size to maybe 18 and change the color to white and centralize. Okay. We still can increase this to say 20 to make it really pronounced. So we have the total sales, right? So this is the total sales. So what we have in front of the total sales is actually the month-on-month sales, right? Let's quickly look at the report here. So we have the month on month, right? The value and also the arrow attached already. Now, just in case you're wondering how we got this arrow, right? Here's the arrow. So just in case you're wondering how we got this arrow when writing this measure, right? So at this point, right, you can actually just hold down your Windows key in your laptop and just hit the full stop. You're going to get lots of this emoji prompt that is going to come up. You can select, then you scroll and start looking for the arrow. You're definitely going to find it here. If you keep scrolling, you should find it somewhere here. You find the arrow we used here. Among these arrows here, you can actually see it here. Arrow going up, arrow coming down, like that. You can see it here. You have lots of them here, different variations, right? That's how we got that arrow. Okay, so let's proceed. Now we have the total sales. One thing we quickly need to do is then bring in another card visual, right? We bring in another card visual, say this card visual. So this card visual is going to hold the month on month sales percent and the arrow indicator, which is actually this one we have here, which is the month on month sales, the month on month percent sales, the one with the values and the arrow. So I'll select this and just select that. So we have 9.4%. Then you see the arrow going up to show there's an increase. But for this, I'll quickly bring in a slicer, right? I'll bring in this slicer and I'll just navigate to my calendar table and just drop my month here. So, right, so I'll just select the month of March. So you can actually see that we have the sales, then compared to the previous months, we actually have a decrease in sales 6.9%. So let's quickly format this, right? I'll leave this here, just leave it here. So let's quickly format this card visual. So for this, I'll come to format, I'll turn off the data label, right? I'll come to general, effects, I'll turn off the background. But now, this is where it gets interesting. Remember, one of the measures we actually have for the sales is actually the background color. This is the background color, which is month on month percent sales background, which is BG color, which means instead of putting off the background color, we'll put it on and click on the conditional formatting here, right? Click on the conditional formatting, change this from rules to feed value, then expand this, of course, your DAX table. You go to sales and select the sales BG color and click on OK. This automatically applies this color to the sales background, right? And this color changes, right? It changes, it depends. If it's a positive increase, it's going to change. So let's quickly select April. Now it's a positive increase, the color changes also. Negative increase, the color changes. So this color is only applying to the background, right? So now go to format again, colored value. Let's reduce this colored value to say 20. Okay, say 20. Is 20 okay? 20 should be fine. Come to general, come to effects, put on the visual border, right? Expand the visual border, change this rounded corners. Let's make it, increase it to 15 or so. And let's reduce this. I think we'll reduce the rounded corners to say 10. Let's see how 10 looks like. Okay, so is this okay? I think this is fine. So now that we have this right here where we want it, we also need to we want the value, right, be 6.9 to either be colored red if it's a decrease in sales or color green if it's an increase in sales, right? So I'll select the card visual again. I'll come to format colored value. So instead of changing the colored value color to either black, we'll click on the conditional formatting. Come back to say field value. Remember, there was a measure in the sales also. There's a measure here that talked about the month on month percent sales color. So we select that measure and click on OK. So this is what you're going to get. So you now have the total sales, then you actually have the color change also. So if you come to April, you see how the color changes. Come to March, okay, okay, just like that. So with this, we've taken care of the sales, right? So we just need to replicate this for profit, cost, and every other measures we have. So let's see KPI, cost, profit, units, and average price. So we need to replicate this for cost, profit, unit, and average price. So I'll just make a copy of this, Control C, Control V. I'll bring it down here, right? I've uncheck sales now and come back to cost, expand cost. This is still cost. I'll come to format, colored value. I'll change it from white to black, right? So this is the cost. Then come to general title. This is total cost. This is no longer white. I can make it black, right? So this is total cost. So let's take a look at this. So we have the total cost. Okay, yes. So this is total cost. I'll just take this here. So this is cost, right? This is looking at the total cost, right? Then we also need to make another card visual, just like we have here for profits, for sales, I mean, not profit. We just make a copy of this, bring it down here. Just keep it here, right? So I'll select this. I'll come to effects, come to general effects, I mean. The visual border, I'll make the visual border white so you don't even notice there's a border there, right? So this is no longer looking at sales, it's looking at cost. So I'll remove the month on month percent, that sales percent, and replace that with cost. So this is actually looking at cost, right? It's looking at cost. That's the month on month percent cost. So everything we've done for the sales, we need to do it for the cost. So I'll come to format now. First, I'll come to general, then I'll come to effects. For the background, I'll click on the conditional formatting. I'm not working with sales background color, rather I'm working with cost background color. So I'll go to cost. So we're working with this cost background color. I'll click on OK. So that's taken care of. It's actually the same measure, but of course, there are situations where there may be an increase in cost, right? While there's a decrease in sales. So you have to change, make sure that you have a measure that takes care of each and every one of the KPIs, right? So let's come to the colored value. That's the colored value now. Click on the conditional formatting. This is no longer sales color. This should be looking at the cost color, which is the cost color, and click on OK. So great. So let's come to April. Let's come to May. Come to June, July, September. Okay, so you see, it's always good to always check through. So you can see now that I'll probably have to just reduce the size by, let's say, 18, so we can see the entire value. So I'll select this and reduce the size to 18 so I can see the entire value. That's 17.0%. Okay. Okay. So we're good. So we also need to make a variation for we have cost. So of course the next should be profits, then profit units and all. So let's make another for profits. I'll just make a copy of this. Very easy. Card visual. I'll just uncheck cost and replace that with profits. That's total profit. I'll come to format now, general, title. This should no longer look at cost, rather profits, right? So this is profit. Next, I'll make a copy of this again, Control C, Control V. I'll just bring it here. Watch what I'm doing. You can see alignment, make sure it's in place, right? I have to bring this closer. Okay. I have to make sure it's well aligned. So this is profit. This is no longer cost. I will check, expand my profit, replace it with profit, right? So profit actually reduced in March also compared to the previous month, so 4.3%. So now you have to come to format again, right? Come to general, effects. The background color should be working with that of profit measure. So conditional formatting. This is no longer looking at cost background color. So we're looking at profit. So expand the profits. We're looking at profit background color. Click on OK. Next, we need to go to the visual colored value. Conditional formatting. This is no longer looking at cost color, rather it's profit. So our data, DAX, we have the profits. So this is looking at the profit color. That's the profit color. And click on OK. So same principle, all true. But we just have to make sure that for each of the measures, right, they have their own measures, their own conditional formatting principle. Because like I said, there are situations where we have an increase in profit and a decrease in sales. So let's see if we have any situation like that. We'll just check through. So we actually have a 2-year data, right? We have a 2-year. Yeah, awesome. So now you can see in August, compared to the previous month, there was a decrease in sales, 2%. There was a decrease in costs, 4.8%, but there was an increase in profits, 2.4%. That's why you need a measure for each of the conditional formatting. Okay, so now that we have profits, we also need one for units, right? If I'm not mistaken, we need one for units and average price. You can go ahead and create for units and average price. We've already done that already. The measures are here. You don't need to do anything. Just expand, create one for units, then expand for price, create for price. You can go ahead and create for units and average price. So I have two tables here, right? The first table, is actually looking at product performance, evaluating sales, profit, and percent growth, right? So just the product, a table with the product name, the sales, of course, the sales also, then units, profit, previous month profit, and the percent. So let's quickly create this. I'll just pick either a matrix or a table, whichever one should do the trick. So what I need is the product. So I can come to my dimension product and select my product. So these are my products, right? Also, first we need the sales. So I'll click on the total sales. So we have the sales, right? So instead of having the T sales, rather I'll just rename this here to sales. So we have the sales, which is the first column. Now, we also need the sales, but we want to apply a conditional formatting data bars. We want to turn on data bars for that. So we can actually go ahead and create another sales measure. Just copy this and say Control C on the DAX table or on this sales folder, right click and say new measure. Just paste the DAX and name this to sales 2. It's the same measure. So I would also add sales 2 to the table. So you see we have same column like this, but I'm not going to come to, I'm going to come to format now. I'm going to scroll down to cell elements and I'm going to change this to sales 2, the series, which is the new sales measure we created, sales 2, and I'm going to turn on the data bars, right? So you have the data bars turned on already. Okay, I'll then come to say specific column, right? I'll say apply to header to total sales, not products now, sales 2, right? Apply to header to total sales. And to the header, I can change the text color, right? I can just change the text color. So what I want to do, I necessarily don't need to apply to values and totals, right? Because I probably want to turn on that. So I'll apply to total also if I want to. I can turn off the total if I want. So I'll say text and I'll say white. So you won't see the header and the total here. I can, yeah, you won't see the header and the total. Let's check that. So you won't find there's no total here, but with that, with this, what I've done, you won't see the header and the total. Also, I need to come back to the cell element and click on data bars and say I want to show bars only. I don't want to show the bars and the value because I already have the values there already. So I'll show bars only. So you see I have the values, then I have the bars. So for this table, right, we can actually come to general and style and preset, changes from default to none, right? So you have something like this. Then I'll come to grid, expand the grid, come to options. I can change the font size from 10 to, let's say, 12, make it a bit bigger, and change the row padding, just increase it to 2. So just to make the table a bit bigger. So maybe we change this to 14, right? And make this, okay, 2 is fine by me also. Okay. So now we have, we can sort this by the sales, right? So you have something like this. Okay, so I'll come back to specific column again, and I'll change the series to sales, which is the first column, right? And I'll say apply to header, apply to total, and I'll just say centralize this, right? Then, of course, that's all I want to do there. Okay, that's all I want to do. Great. So now we have the sales, the bars indicating the sales, right? Then we also then need to look at the units, right? Total units. So I'll just expand the units and bring in the total units. So we have the total units. I'll come back to my visual and I'll just rename this to be units, not T units. I'll rename this to be units. So you have the units, right? I'll come to format now, specific column. I'll change this from sales to units, apply to header to total, right? What I want to do is scroll down. Instead of the units to be none, I'll say it should be in thousand, right? Decimal places, I should probably just say one decimal place or two. Then I'll just centralize this. So you have the sales, you have the units well aligned. From the units, what we have next is supposed to be the profit, right? So I'll expand now to the profits and add the profits. So this is the profits. I'll also go back to the specific column, change this from units now to profits, apply to total, apply to header. I'll scroll down again. This should be in thousand, right? Adjust the decimal places to be two decimal places at most, right? I'll then come to here. I'll come down here and just rename this to profits. Great. So I'll come back to the specific column again. I'll change this to profits once more. I'll make sure everything is aligned, right? Everything is aligned, well aligned at the middle. So we have the product, we have the sales, we have the units, we have the profits. So what I wanted to show here also is the previous month profits, previous month profit. So this is the current month profit because we're actually in August. So this is the current month profit. So I want to show the previous month profit here. So if you expand the orders, right? If you expand the orders, you find the previous month profits here. You find the previous month profit. So I'll just select the previous month profit. So this is actually the previous month profit. So once I have that selected, I'll come back again to specific column, change this to the previous month profit that I just created now. I'll scroll down. Of course, I'll apply to header, apply to total. I'll change this from none to 1000. Decimal places should be not more than 1 or 2. Let's continue with the 2 we've been using before now, right? And I also align it at the middle. So this you no longer have that long name we have there. So I'll just come back and change this now. That long name, I want it to just be PM profits, right? So previous month profit. So this is profit, then previous month profit. Then on the final column we have on the table, right? The final column we have on the table is actually the month-on-month profit, right? Month-on-month profit. We just want to know more like the previous month profit also in comparison. So what's the difference between this and this? So for this month, they had a profit of $1,191 compared to the previous month, a profit of 1,201. So was there an increase in profit or a decrease in profit? That's basically what we want to do here. So I'll just add in others also, you find the month-on-month percent profit. So I'll add this. So you see, there was actually a decrease in profit because we decreased from 1,200 to 1,191, 0.9% decrease in profits. So I have this selected, right? So I also want to apply a little conditional formatting to this profit. So I'll just first, I'll change this to be month on month, right? Month on month. So I want to add the delta symbol. So I'll hold down my Windows key and click on my full stop again, just like we did before now. I'll select and just add this delta symbol I have here, delta symbol. So I have something like this. Yes, I have something like this, right? I'll just make some small adjustments here. Okay. Okay, so this is my table. Now I need to apply the conditional formatting, right? So I come to format. Where do I want to come? First, I would say specific column. I'll change this to be month on month profit. Apply to header, to everything. Just centralize this, right, to make it look clean. Then I'll come to cell element. I'll change this now to month on month profit percent, and I'll turn on data bars, right? Once I turn on the data bars, I'll click on the conditional formatting. For my positive bar, I want the color to be green. For my negative bar, I want the color to be red, right? To be red. And I'll click on OK. So it's that simple. So if I come to the month of September, oh, then the month of September was really bad compared to the previous month. October, November. So you get to see all the change. So just like we created this table for product, we need to also create another table. Just like we created this table for product, we need to create another table for what's that gonna be? We need to create another one for the sales channel. Sales channel. So this is product performance, evaluating sales, profit, and percent growth, right? So we can give it a title, come to format, general, turn on the title. This is product performance, right? Product performance, right? So evaluating sales, units, and growth percent. So that's just the title. We can then make it at the middle. 14 is okay. I can just click on bold to make it bold. So just like you have for products, right? You need to then create this for the sales outlet, right? Which is the outlet. You need to create this for the outlet. So you can make a duplicate of this table, right? And instead of looking at products, we're looking at the outlet, which is the retail outlet. Is it the retail outlet now? Let's be sure. Or the sales channel, actually, which is sales method. So I'll drop the sales method up here. So you have a table, but I need to bring the sales method to be the first column. So I'll just adjust. My screen is a bit small, so I need to start pushing gradually. We need the sales method to be the first column. Is there a faster way to do this? So you have the sales method, right? So every other thing remains the same. So you have the sales method here. Okay, so one thing I'll do is I'll just reduce the size, right? But I'll also increase it eventually, but I want to make the adjustments here. I want it to align. So I'll come to here and push, make sure the sales align with the sales down here. Then I can increase this eventually. So you have the sales, just make some adjustments. So you have the sales, you have the units, you have the profits, previous month profits, then month on month percent, right? So this is no longer looking at product performance, rather it's looking at sales channel, general title. So I'll just this should be channel performance. So this should be channel performance. Okay. So you have our table, the two tables we need here already, right? So you can go for months. For every month, you see the performance. So one thing we're missing here, right? We're supposed to actually have versus previous month just to tell our user that this is actually comparing it to the previous month. So a text box can actually do that, right? So I can just expand and say I want to insert a text box, and this text box should just be VSPM, right? Control A. Just this should be 14. This should be DIN. Okay. So I'll come to effects. I'll just turn off the background, right? So I'll make a copy of this because I need two copies. Remember, you need actually more than two. So for now, I need two copies. When you're done creating the other KPI cards, you're going to need more copies of this. So great. So we have everything we need right here. Next, we then need to create the map visual, right? But one thing, you can actually see that the data bar we have here, right? The data bar we have here, we need to change the color. So I'll just navigate to our PowerPoint. I want the color code for this background, more colors. I want to grab the color code. That's 203864. I'll just grab the color code. Navigate back to our reports. I'll select this table, come to format, cell element. Now I'm looking at the sales 2, which is the sales 2 data bars. So this positive bar, I'll click and just paste the color code. Click on OK. Next, I'll come here, data bar, change the color, paste the color code, click on OK. Great. So next, we need to create the map visual we have here, right? The map visual we have here. So if we come to our reports now, we just have, which is regional sales performance, right? So we have a map visual of the United States, because I think the data set for all the regions we actually have states, and the states is actually just pointing to all the states in the United States. So of course we have some blank states though, which is some states without data. So to do that, we're actually going to be using the shape map, right? So I have the shape map here. I'm just going to select the shape map. I'll bring it down here. Now, if you don't have the shape map in your Power BI, what you need to do is come to File, right? Come to, okay, is it File now? Yeah, File, Options and Settings. Come to Options, right? Navigate to Options. Okay, so come to Preview Features, right? Look for the shape map here. Look at it here, shape map. So make sure you check the shape map and click on OK. Of course, you need to probably shut down your system or close your Power BI, open it up again, then you should find the shape map here. So once you have the shape map, so this is the shape map. So for the shape map, we're actually looking at sales, right? We're looking at the sales, right? The sales across the different region. But you can actually spice it up to look at sales and to also look at let's say profit, right? You want to look at sales and profit across the different region. Okay, we already have we have sales and profit by region, or actually we have sales and profit by region. So we'll just have the regional map and regional sales performance, which is more like for each of the states we want to see the sales, right? across the states. So this is the shape map. So for the shape map, for location on the shape map, just come to your dimension geography, select the state and drop it on the location. Okay, so I have to make sure. So you drop it on the location. So once you do that, this is what you're going to get. We don't have any data yet, so that's fine. Just carefully scroll down. So next, I'm just going to select our total profits, total sales, not profit. I'll come to the DAX table, expand the sales and select the total sales. So once I select the total sales is going to come into the color saturation. So you're going to see the different sales across the different states, right? So one thing I'm going to do is just make this to be sales, right? This should just be sales. So you can actually see that California, we have California, which the bulk of the sales here. You also have Maine also. So this is just a shape map. So this should actually be general title sales by state, which is fine. I'll just centralize this also. So this will tell us the sales by the different states for this particular month we have selected, right? Now, we also then need to create a clustered bar chart. We need a clustered bar chart, right? Just by the side of the shape map. So this is actually looking at the sales and profit by the different region. So I'll select the sales, right? I'll expand the profit, select the profits, right? Next thing I'll do is expand my geography and select region. So we're looking at the sales and profit across the different region. Right? So I have to format this on the x-axis. I'll turn off the title, right? I'll turn off the values. On the y-axis, I'll also turn off the title. Then I'll change this to DIN, also increase the size to be 10. Then for the legend, right, I'll leave the legend on. But what I'll do is come down here and name this to be sales and profits, not T sales or profits. Sales. This should be profits. Great. So once this is done, sales and profit by region, which is fine by me. I'll come to general title, just centralize this, right? Then I can come down to where we have the data label and put on the data label so I can see the sales and profit by the different region, right? Also, I think because of the theme I'm using, right? If I come to view, there's a theme I'm currently using. Let's see, customize current theme. So this is the theme I'm currently using, right? This is the theme I'm currently using. So I want to change the color, this blue color, to this very color we have here. So more colors. Okay. So I want to change the blue color to this very one. And just click on apply. So it changes these colors I have here already. So that's not really necessary, right? You can just do that manually if you're not using that thing. This is green, this is blue, the blue we're using for our background. So I also select the map, right? I'll come to format, fill color. So the maximum color, I'll just paste that color code. So it looks like this. Okay, so I think with this, we're done with everything we need here. Just one more thing we also need to do. That has to do with price, right? So we have the product's average price across different states. So this is just the table, right? So we can bring in what do we need to use for this? Okay. So let's bring in a matrix visual. Just expand this. What we need is to bring in the states, right? but we need the states to be in row. So select this. I'll just have to collapse this a bit. The states needs to be on the column, not row actually. I need to move the states to column. I'll just uncheck it, come to the column, expand the geography and bring in the states. So I have the different states, right? I have the different states here. Then I need the average price, right? So I'll expand my dates DAX table, come to the price and just select the average price. So this is the average price. So I need to bring this down here. Just reduce the size. Okay, so this is what I have done here. Okay, so remember you need to create the KPI cards for units and also for price also. Now this is our slicer, right? Our month slicer, right? So for this slicer, I'll just come to format, come to slicer setting, change this from vertical list to drop down. So I have the month slicer, right? So I'll just make sure it's up here. Okay, just make sure it fits in here. So one thing I'll do is come to general, come to effects, I'll put off the background, right? I'll come to visual values. I'll change this to DIN as usual. I'll come to background and I'll change the color to white. So I have something like this. Then I'll come to the slicer header. So I'll just say select month, right? Select month. And I'll just make this 14 and change this to white. So you can have something like this as select month. But I also know I have year. So for 2 years. So I'll bring in another slicer here, right? I'll bring in another slicer and I'll just change this from month to year. So this is no longer select month, this should be select year. So I can select a particular year now, right? Then I can select a particular month. But I think my data speaks more to 2021, right? It speaks more to 2021 compared to 2020. So it's as simple as that. Okay, can walk through that. Okay, so you can bring in another slicer if you want to add another slicer to this. This should be average price or price trend across different streets. I'll give this a title, average price across states. So this is DIN. I'll just centralize this, right? Okay, so one thing I missed also, there's no title for the report, so you can actually give the report a title, right? You need to give the report a title. Is it sports products reports or sales analysis? Text box. Probably just see sports products sales analysis, right? Or sports product sales performance reports. So this should be DIN once again. For us to be consistent, I'll probably just say this should be 40. Okay, so we have a title here, right? I can then come to effect, just put off the background, and this should be, let's say, white. Okay, so just give it a title, simple title, right? Then of course go ahead and create the other KPI cards. Then your slicers up here also. So you can actually improve on this, right? I just wanted a very simple report for a beginner friendly report without much complications, right? So you can improve on this report, you can add some other elements to this report, but this should form a base for you to um, go ahead and add some other features or elements to the report. So with this, we're done with this beginner friendly and simple Power BI report. Until then, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and also leave a like if this video was helpful. Thank you very much. See you again.